money is a tool. It's not a nature of things or anything else. That's a tool which society discovered hundreds of years ago. And as same as a knife, you can kill the person or you can cut the sausage. And it depends on the person who keeps these sausages, anything else. Whatever you like, what you
no, because he's
saying
hot dogs and
sausages. Definitely. Okay, hot dog is a word of the day. So the money is a tool as the knife. So you can cut the sausages or apple, or you can kill the person. Same with the money. You can use it as a distribution system, and at the same time you can use it as a tool to control the people. And the nature of this problem is inside the people who use this tool, not in the tool. And also the same with the energy. We have enough energy, but the issue and problem is in the people who use this energy. Even if we do not have unlimited energy, anyway, energy enough to use it for people. And the key point here is a consciousness about these tools. That's why I hear this argument.
I think you brought up a really good point about AI, because there is a danger, and this is being discussed right now. Pidevin discusses it in his latest book, Love for Three Zuckerbergs, or his second to last book. Is the idea that on several planetary systems or planets, people came together and created an AI and decided to give up their sovereignty to this AI based on the following line of reasoning. They said that because we cannot trust ourselves to be objective and non-biased in making decisions with respect to the system of justice, let's outsource those decisions to a completely objective, non-emotional, decision-making entity, the AI, that will decide for us who gets punished for what. Those people were either exterminated or enslaved. I think it would be a mistake to do that. I think that argument has already appeared in certain circles. I think that you brought up a really good point.
I think there is some misunderstanding in terminology. Most people talk about money, and I think the money itself is not bad, but the current monetary system is. The original invention of money wasn't really bad, but how the system works now, it is.
It was bad.
Yes, money is not like a banknote, not a paper. It's like you just a thing that we can't actually live without, because that's your, no, that's the
I've tried to do it. You know that, and I was successful.
Alright, but how was your, like, what was the
Why did
range
you
of your
I
operation?
grew my own food.
Alright, did you make your own music?
Sorry.
No, I just grew my own food.
Yeah,
And
but
I
that's,
enjoy
I agree about the point, with the point of money being a tool. Because hundreds of years ago, instead of money, there was something else. Something else. It's a tool of exchange.
it's not money, it's just what's called
If money disappears, something else will definitely appear.
Yeah.
Why it appears?
Because money is
because
not
when
a
you
thing.
have-
It's like that's, as I said, that's a demand.
What is money?
If you take away banknotes, if you take away paper, we will exchange with other things.
Yeah. So if I continue, okay? You
What is the
other
value of money?
thoughts. For example, if you have, I don't know, let's say car, and I have an apple. How should we know what's the equivalent of it? How should we know how many apples should I give for a car? Or how should I know how many cars should you give me for one apple, right?
Yeah.
So money is a tool.
But
It's equivalent. So
Yes.
if they disappear, people will come
Well,
up with
let's
something else.
imagine
So
that-
I think it's like, let's call it an equal.
Okay, let's imagine that you have enough resources to have enough apples, and you have resources to have enough cars. And if you talk about restriction, I think you don't think about it. What Kevin talked about. So if you have 10,000 cars, yeah, there is a restriction. There is some society who does not have. Okay, let's imagine that we are humans. Humans live on this planet more than 1,100 years, and people invent money only in a small period of time, maybe 2 or maybe 5,000 years ago. I'm not sure, but people live without money much more than they live with money. And about restriction, for example, if you have enough cars, if you have enough anything, society can restrict you to have an enormous count of anything. It's a not a good example, but if you look at the nations who live in Caucasus, they don't have rules, they don't have anything. They have only restriction of tribe. So they can't kill people from this tribe, not because of punishment, just because of they don't imagine that they can do it, you see? So they do not have judges, and they still have an almost low level of crimes, just because they think in different way. So you think like people in the West, with West mind, who think that everything can buy by money and you need money to...
How is money related to laws again?
Okay, we are talking about not real, from my point of view, but theoretically possible situation when humanity have enough resources to build an enormous count of anything. Let's imagine that it would be some new technology or anything. Actually, I don't believe that it's possible now, but we are talking about possibility. And in this possibility, if you don't want something, you can get it, you see? And you don't need money, you just take it and that's it. You see?
It's almost like it is like a solution goal.
For example, it's one of the possibilities which might be.
Also,
You mentioned tribal. You mentioned tribes. And do you know that in tribes they also have some exchange system? It's not money and it's not, I don't know, let's say it's coconuts or, I don't know, stones, anything.
No, they have barter and they have it only because they don't have enough food, for example. If they have enough food, they don't have enough clothes. They don't need to exchange anything. You see, they just can take it. Exchange system exists only in society when you don't have enough resources to fill everyone with energy. For example, I have heard that someone said that we have enough energy. We don't have enough energy. An enormous count of people don't have water, don't have electricity, don't have anything.
distribution.
No, it's not. If you have enough energy, why can't we give it to them?
Because they are far away.
No, because they are not far away, as you might think. Because we don't have resources to provide them this.
Of course, because they are far away and we need resources to distribute
Oh.
them. And we need to pay for this resource.
Oh, pay. Why do we need to pay? Because we don't have...
someone needs to construct things.
No,
and
no.
you won't construct things for free.
Yeah, it's a point, but you need to have, we don't have enough resources to even to feed everyone. So if we don't have enough resources, not enough metals, we don't have enough...
We have enough resources to feed everyone right now. Maybe in 50 years we will...
If we have, why millions of people don't have food?
Because some people eat 3 meals in the morning and some people eat 3 meals per week.
That's what
That's distribution.
okay.
How, if, for example, we're talking about unlimited amount of anything, how can you produce anything? You can't just produce everything you need. It's, I don't know, you will need a lifetime for it.
Okay, if you're talking about technical implementation, let's imagine that the people implement thermo... I just don't know English word. No, it's not even such sophisticated as Skyscanner. It might be some... If we have energy, we can change the direction of structure of items, and we can produce everything with an enormous amount of energy.
Transmutation.
For example, or even simplest example, 3D printing. They create things from something. If you have enough energy, you can change the direction of atoms and create another material. Actually, people create it, but it's not. They have only a few numbers of materials. But if we have enough energy, because it's an enormous amount of energy, theoretically we can do in the future, for example.
Can we get back to the question? I mean, we're
Yeah, also, Kevin, my A and B supervisor asked some question to you. I'll send you a letter, okay?
I have a really great great example for what we discussed.
Do
because-
anybody needs papers? Like really? That would be cooler. Tell me, really. Raise hands. Hands.
Like,
Okay.
so, has anybody watched the Wall-E?
Well,
Uh,
the film, the cartoon,
Yes,
animated
yes.
film, Wall-E, yes.
Yeah.
I
So,
have seen it.
discussion on like this thing where people free of work and they do what they like is kind of old thing because people discuss it time to time, and there's been a lot of attempts to like create or like make attempts and create something like that, right? And I'm not sure, I don't remember how it's called, but there's an experiment with that
Mouse?
yeah, the mouse.
Yeah, it's a good, actually good question.
Yeah, and the point of experiment was to free them of any like labor. They just sleep, eat, and whenever they want anything, it just like falls on them, like everything they want. And the only thing they need to do was to reproduce and eat stuff.
And
And
who are these people that they conducted the experiment on?
what?
Who were the people that
I
participated?
don't remember the
It's a
name.
science from the European country.
Maybe someone will remember because I don't remember the name of experiment.
Okay.
But the point is that in few generations they became so apathetic and lazy because basically they degraded to the state where they only wanted to eat food and they didn't even want to reproduce. And basically they died out because they became too lazy to live.
Yeah, in 3 or 5 generations.
It's hard for me to believe that that's the way people would, I mean, if you look at children, nobody's paying money to children to do what they do, but you can't stop them from running around and doing something. They have so much energy, and they don't need it to live. They actually want to learn and to play and to do something like that. I don't see why we could not extend that curiosity about the world around them to the age of 60, 100, 200, or whatever. If my wants are limited to satisfying what my body needs, then I can imagine that you would have stagnation in a world where I don't have to work in order to fulfill those needs. But isn't humanity, hasn't it advanced to a point where we have needs in addition to that? I mean, don't we love good music and art and literature, and don't we want to explore the universe and things of this nature? I mean, that curiosity is not going to go away. You would have to kill me to keep me from being curious. I mean, you don't have to pay me to be curious. You don't have to threaten to withhold food from me to be curious. You would, in fact, have to prohibit me from being curious. That's the only way to do it. And it's hard for me to believe that I'm the only person like that. I would say that people here are also like that. So perhaps that's not the majority of people in the world at this moment, but I would say that perhaps that's because they've been told that the only thing in life is to make sure that you can satisfy your bodily needs, simply because we're told that there's scarcity, that there's not enough of what we need to survive, and so we're filled with this fear. I mean, is the human life really limited to fulfilling these wants? Aren't we higher than the primates? Even gorillas show, the desire to show tenderness for other gorillas and even other animals. Aren't we at least that advanced spiritually?
I really want to believe that we are, and I think that we have a lot of things that we have not yet discovered in ourselves, right? But there's a thing that is history, right? And the history taught us that every time any civilization, empire, country became too lazy to, not too lazy, but became too, yeah, not only static, maybe static in the way of like reality, more like steady in the way of not producing something important in the way of actually like real life things, not the fuss or something like that, right? That like even for example, here's like huge example, Roman Empire, right? The downfall was not only because of the barbarians or some stuff. That was like small part of that. They fought a lot of wars before that. They fall because the society fall.
Okay.
They became too weak to contest the barbarians.
I would suggest that the history we have been given is mostly fabricated and much has been hidden from us. It is there. You can read accounts of civilizations that did not, in fact, have that happen to them. They did not fall. They advanced spiritually, and they were able to leave their body and travel to another place. Other civilizations decided to go underground because it's a safer place to be, because you avoid all the cataclysms that periodically take place on the surface of the planet. But those civilizations, they do not tell us about in the textbooks, because that's an example they don't want to give us. They want us to believe that the society we're living in is the best possible society that has ever existed, so we don't complain. But that's a lie. There have been much better. There have been civilizations that have been completely peaceful, where people have been completely happy, where people have had enough to eat. There's been no shortage, and the idea of scarcity did not exist, because they didn't need all the things we think we need.
Why did they not exist right now?
Some of them do. Some of them are living underground. Some of them went to another place because they were able to leave their body here and then travel in another way. That's something we potentially also can do. I cannot prove that. You can read about that.
Is it ascension? Is it ascension?
I'm sorry?
Is it like ascension?
Some people might call it that, but some people might call it something like that. That's something I would like for people to consider that's being talked about right now. I certainly cannot prove that. But I would suggest that the history we're being given is truncated, fabricated, manipulated, and we're not told a lot of things that really happen. For the purpose of controlling the way we think now, and so that they make sure that we want only what is given to us.
What have countries and their span of life have to do with people, with each person at all? Why do we now discuss the lifespan of civilization?
Because we discussed why it would be becoming more, not lazy, I can find the word, I mean, less inclined to do some physical work or some hard needed stuff, because at least history teaches that the civilizations that did not do that, they declined.
Well, it's just another civilization was more active, and
yes,
it doesn't have nothing to do with any person. We're talking about why each person could become lazy to not to do anything or to do something.
but the person contributes to society. I mean, that's
I assume that we are talking, if we are talking about society, whether it's free energy and unlimited resources, there are no countries, as far as I understand.
Yeah,
What's
but
the point?
we were discussing history, where there's still not enough.
Well, you mean civilization in general. Well, maybe it's a good thing that civilizations decline, because maybe it's time to sort of clear the playing field and start over again.
This is how it usually happens.
Is that good experience? Is that experience?
I don't know. Some people would say that the members of a society, the consciousness of each participant in that society agrees to participate in this experiment before they incarnate here. That would include experiencing downfall, rise and fall of whatever civilization they would participate in. If you think of the universe, I mean, the universe is enormous. If I told you that a scientist discovered yesterday that it's actually 10 times bigger than we thought before, would you believe that? You wouldn't know, you'd probably believe it. If they said it's 100 times bigger, or 1,000,000 times bigger. Okay, if it's so enormous, probably there's no shortage of energy, you know, in a macro sense. The quasars and the pulsars, I mean, there's so much energy, we would never know what to do with all that. If there's that much energy, what shortage of energy is there for every consciousness entity that wishes to experience? Any form of existence it wishes to experience could have that opportunity and chance. And if I can experience anything that I would want to experience, would that not include being a chair, being a dog, being a fish, being murdered and being a murderer, committing suicide and having some... If I can experience all that and incorporate that and see what that is like, why would I not agree to have that done, or to agree to engage in that type of activity? I would think it was probably really interesting to live during the downfall of Rome, because it was total unadulterated hedonism, because the Huns were at the gate, and so let's have our last, 2 hours of pleasure. Probably that was really interesting, and probably that was an interesting experience. And maybe some of us here are reincarnated from that, and we've come here to discuss this because we need to balance out that experience with some sort of idea that maybe that's not the only thing that we need, maybe we need also the idea of scarcity. If you understand my point, I can't prove that's true.
In a free energy world, like, I can suspect that there would be some people, there would be still some people who are greedy for power. What could be other reasons for complex society?
Well, I mean, you would be referring to something like, for example, if you're the head of a church, and then people would do what you tell them to do because there's some sort of ideology or because they believe in what you're saying. I suppose somebody might try to do that, but I mean, if we're aware, I suppose if we would agree to the notion that there's some set of ideas or some ideology that is the only possible set of ideas that we would allow ourselves to believe in, because maybe if we don't believe that we'll be punished in the afterlife or we'll be punished in this life, I guess that sort of thing could take place. I would hope that we would be aware of that, aware that that happens in the past, and we would try not to let it happen again.
Maybe we can end up like watching TV 12 hours a day, constantly swapping channels. Just entertainment.
Probably there will be few generations who will be really lazy, just enjoying that stuff. But you can't do that all the time. So once after that, some people will find that to do something, to find something new is much better than just sit and watch TV or something.
Give me the ideal, like what are we talking, the world that we're living, that we will be lazy, we won't need anything. Like, this is limitless, like, our needs are different. I mean, you would like, I don't know, what would you like, but I would like hundreds of cars, let's say, I would like technically, not me liking a lot of cars, still I would like hundreds of cars, but still. So the needs are different. I mean, what will we have? And is it possible to have that for every single person? I mean, I don't think it is possible. Like, who will make these cars? Even if all these, the iron will finish. I mean,
there are a lot of people who really like making cars.
yes, for who?
We wouldn't have cars if there were no such people.
Okay. Okay.